Welcome, everybody, to the Filmmakers Podcast, which is brought to you by UMBC's Filmmakers Anonymous, the best film club on campus. So there, will you get off my back now?
Are we not the only anymore?
No, we are the only. We are still the only, but we're the best too.
Okay.
So.
Like that.
Welcome to our podcast. You're joined. God, I can't speak right now.
Do it, Mike.
I have faith in you.
It's not your fault.
I'm Mike. I'm the president of Filmmakers Anonymous, and I'm also the host of Filmmakers Podcast. I am joined, as usual, by Costa, our treasurer.
Hello, everybody.
Tyler, who is the secretary of our club.
Hello.
I'm joined. Amber could not make it here this week, unfortunately. So in her place, we have Emily,
Hello.
who is a film club member. She hasn't been part of our podcast yet, but anyway. We're also joined by Brianna.
Hello.
Also joined by prominent member Sander.
I'm very prominent.
Yep. Steven.
Sup?
And Ryan.
Hello.
Alright, everybody. So, Oscars month is over. So now, we just got done celebrating the best, as the Academy determines, of cinema for 2012. So why don't we just talk about the worst films we've ever watched
Battleship.
this week. Thank you, Sander, for jumping in.
Your turn.
Well, actually, I probably was going to go to him. So go ahead, Sander. We're just going to go around, and you guys can jump in whenever you want about your worst films or stuff like that. But so go ahead. You have the floor.
I knew Battleship was going to be bad because when I saw the trailer for it at the Super Bowl, because remember, it was a Super Bowl commercial 2 years ago, that I was like, wait, they're making another Transformers? And then it wasn't Transformers. It was more Transformers than Transformers. And so then it was Battleship. And I knew it was going to be terrible. But I went anyway for one reason and one reason only. Because I wanted to see Liam Neeson clinging to a piece of driftwood, his fist shaking at the sky, looking at the aliens. You sunk my battleship. Liam Neeson's in the movie for maybe 15 minutes. At the beginning and at the end. And his character consists entirely of, you're not good enough for my daughter, Hopper. I hate you, Hopper. It is the least... And honestly, his character is less developed in that film than he was in The Grey, where he was just wolf stabbing man.
I just want to comment on that, though, because... I think if they had included that Battleship line, there would be tons of people like you who, the minute they heard that line, they would have imitated Family Guy and just went, done, and then just walked right out of the theater.
But also, not only was... Then it was also bad for some legitimate reasons. For example, why are the aliens bad guys? Well, because they're aliens. They give us this half-assed flashback sequence to why the aliens leave, which really just shows them just leaving a destroyed planet. And I was like, well, that doesn't make them bad guys. Not only that, but there's a telescope and it's like a radio telescope which communicates by shooting lasers, but it's not a laser gun; it's a telescope that shoots lasers.
Wow.
And it's not. There are real telescopes that shoot lasers. There are adaptive optics telescopes, but this was a radio telescope, and it shot down the alien spaceship with its laser. It makes no sense.
I don't understand why they had to go with the concept of Transformer-like aliens and robots for the Battleship movie.
Because Transformers had just come out.
I guess, but I mean, it would have been served better if it was an actual war-based film about actual battleships.
The best actor in that film was Rihanna. And that's just saying something about the quality of acting.
Especially when you have Liam Neeson.
Better than Liam Neeson?
Significantly better than Liam Neeson.
That's scary. That's
Liam Neeson,
scary.
I wasn't joking when I said that was the extent of his characterization. Wow. Like, I was not making hyperbole. That's literally his character.
Huh. See, the problem is, it had a lot of potential, because it was directed by Peter Berg, who was a producer on Friday Night Lights, which, I don't know if anybody else here has seen that show, but it's an amazing show.
Seen parts of it.
It's an amazing show. And Taylor Kitsch plays a main character in Friday Night Lights, and he's also the main guy in Battleship. He's a pretty good actor in Friday Night Lights, but he brought nothing to Battleship.
But that's just because Battleship itself
There was nothing to bring.
Yeah, the script, the plot just isn't there.
I'll admit that I haven't seen the whole movie. I walked in and my dad was asleep and it was on TV, and then I sat there and watched it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, this is not even worth
I haven't seen it at all. I've only seen the trailers and commercials for it, so... Also, just joining the podcast is Greg, who is also another prominent filmmaker.
Yeah, I got lost here.
You got lost.
It's one hallway.
There's one hallway. There's a study hall down the other end of it, and then there's one down here.
I'm sorry, when I went out there as a labyrinth.
Hey, that was a bad movie.
There you go.
I know that's
Jim-
an unpopular opinion.
Jim
And
Henson's
Ryan-
Labyrinth?
regular Labyrinth.
Yeah, Jim Henson's. Yeah.
How could you not like what? It's David
It's
Bowie.
David. That's exactly why. It's David
Wait,
Bowie
hold
in
on.
this
Okay, you
movie.
know what?
Emily
I
was-
liked David Bowie,
Emily
but the
was
movie...
in the middle of talking about Battleship.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
get
right.
back to this.
Get back
She
to
was
Battleship.
done.
Oh, I pretty much said it.
She was done.
Labyrinth?
No, I wouldn't just cut Emily off.
About it was like all that there is to say about it.
For me, Labyrinth is an enjoyable bad movie. It's not that good, and it has a ton of problems, but it's still somewhat enjoyable to a lot of people. And I can understand why you hate it, though.
The whole conflict of the film is choose this door or choose this door.
No, it wasn't. The whole
That's
conflict
the
was
main
the whole
conflict
conflict was
of the film.
get your brother or pretty much marry
But
Dave
the
Bowie. It's
path,
like that
the
was the
path
movie.
to get her brother was either this door or this door.
That was just really one of the puzzles they gave.
It was at least two.
Oh god, what have I started?
But it has the song Magic Dance in it.
It has a lot of strange things in that movie.
It reminds me of the band.
But yeah, so that's just one of mine, and I know that one's more unpopular than most, but of an opinion at least.
I did see a GIF on Imgur of the thing where David Bowie's walking up and he like walks onto the thing upside down, and they're like, "There's no special effects used. He actually was hooked up to some sort of rig system, and they glued his shoes
Nice.
to the thing, and so he actually was like flipped up and
Nice.
started walking. So that's kind of cool.
All right,
Yeah,
I can give
The-
actors and filmmakers credit for stuff like that.
The puppeteer of Elmo, like he worked on that too. He was the puppeteers for one of the orange furry things. I don't think anyone remembers what I'm talking about, but he was one of those.
I mean, granted, I haven't seen Labyrinth in a long time, but I just remember I
Yeah.
never wanted to watch it ever again.
It's a weird movie.
I liked Pan's Labyrinth.
I haven't seen
I haven't
Pan's
seen that either. I've
Labyrinth,
wanted to see
so I have heard things about that. Costa, why don't you tell us your worst films?
Well, I'll save my worst one for last. My absolute worst one for last. But the one I thought about actually was a tie. Both of them are M. Night Shyamalan movies. The two.
Wait. He said M. Night Shyamalan. Come on, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Oh, why? The M. Night Shyamalan room.
The two were Signs and The Happening.
Jeez.
If I'd actually bothered to go see The Last Airbender, I'm sure it would be on the list.
That
too.
probably
It's
would
bad.
top the
It's
list.
so
But I did not go see Last Airbender because I knew it was gonna be horrible. But
But you went to go see Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
Okay, I'll let you finish, but go ahead.
all right, yeah. Thank you for ruining. All right,
Please, Dragon Ball E.
no. So
I'm sorry.
So the reason for Signs was, I guess, more so how much sense the ending made. Just that the aliens visiting Earth for whatever reason, and it's like turns out their lone weakness is water, and they arrive on a planet that is 3/4 water.
Earth is a great choice.
there is actually there's an explanation for that, but it's a terrible explanation.
What is it?
Well, I'm sorry. Continue your.
Oh no, I actually want to hear this explanation because it's so stupid.
This explanation is very stupid. According to the people who've so-called talked to Shyamalan, according to Shyamalan, they never explicitly were truly revealed to be aliens. They were just speculation by the people. And the reason why is because they're not actually aliens. They're demons from hell. And the
come
water
on.
is really just
That.
symbolic of holy water. And that's why, because it makes no sense, right?
But
That's
water
the
has to be made holy
But what
water.
is- what-
Isn't
what
that just
is-
water
I
itself
know.
as a
But dude,
symbol
Wait
wouldn't
a minute,
act as
where
a
did
demon
where did
repellent?
the Christian imagery come from?
Because Shyamalan's Christian, but then at the same time, that
I
doesn't
know, but
mean...
in that movie,
I mean,
what?
Who knows
Well,
why?
random bodies of water do
I'm just
not
saying-
count as holy water.
I know.
Why would demons
I
do it like that?
Shyamalan's
I'm pretty
weird.
sure Pigpen Pond would not count as
I'm
holy
just saying, this
water.
is what
Could you
people-
imagine there's a Catholic priest just going around blessing everybody?
This is supposedly what Shyamalan has said. I can't verify if it's
Christ.
facts. I actually like Signs, but I can understand why people don't like it, and I can understand why that theory makes no sense at all.
And,
I'd rather
crop
there be that
circles
they
are an
missed.
extraterrestrial thing that people
Yeah.
believe in.
Not
It
by
doesn't make
demons.
sense.
Not by demons, exactly. That's the whole point. I mean, I understand like Mel Gibson playing a priest who's kind of lost his faith or whatever, but I mean, I don't know. And then
Plus, they look like aliens.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I think The Happening was the other M. Night Shyamalan movie I said, was just because the plot twist. I figured you were able to figure that plot twist out in like 20 minutes.
What
into
was
the
it
movie.
again?
That the Earth was fighting back against humanity for being unkind to the
That's
Earth.
like not even a plot twist. That's just like.
I'm pretty sure Zoe Deschanel was just completely stoned the entire movie.
Yeah.
She has her eyes bugged out.
That's just how she is.
yeah,
Her eyes are
that's true.
perpetually
Actually,
It was like-
if you watch 500 Days of Summer, you can.
I
you
mean,
can
I
see
give
it.
credit to Shyamalan, like occasionally, like some of his plot twists are kind of creative, but they framed it way too obviously. Like every 5 minutes, there's just like wide shot of a tree blowing in the wind or something. You know, they made it very, very clear that it was like an environmental issue. And the Earth was making people commit suicide.
If it weren't for you bringing up The Happening, I probably would have brought it up. It was like the scene where they're running away from the wind, and they say, "Run away from the wind." That's when it becomes apparent that it's a terrible movie.
Run away from the wind. That's
Outrun the wind. It's
You can totally do that.
And then my last movie, Mike kind of spoiled it, was
Sorry.
Dragon Ball Evolution. Oh my god! Like if you try imagining your childhood memories being raped in front of your eyes.
I warned you.
Like
you can
that.
tell from the
know,
trailer.
yeah. All you had to do was really watch the trailer. And you had to
Well, I know.
Dragon Ball
Z,
is set in the
but-
modern era.
Having
And in
having
high school.
grown up on the anime, I was like, okay, I want to give it a shot.
Ah.
And I just they made, I mean, for like I'm now getting on my nerd soapbox right now, standing up on it really high. Like, how do you cast the guy? Like every other actor except for the guy who's Goku is Asian. Goku is the one non-Asian.
He's a Saiyan.
But he's. Anyway, and
Wasn't he inspired by like a Chinese martial artist, like a famous Chinese martial artist? Like the creator like based him off of him.
I
I'm pretty
can't
sure he
quite
did.
remember that, but every other character in the movie is Asian, and then he's like also like this angsty, just like teenager that is just like
Of course he is.
at his all time like he's basically been struck by puberty like it was a fucking like freight train. You know, he's just so angsty and angry at the world, and they made all the special that looked like airbending to me. It wasn't.
Don't even bring up that movie.
I'll bring it up.
I'm
Don't worry.
just saying the
Not
movie
if I
was
bring it up
incredibly
first.
shitty. The one good thing about that movie was I did like James Marsden as Piccolo. That was kind of cool. But other than that, the movie was utter shit.
You know what other movie was really bad?
I'm bringing it up. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
Brianna
Are you
has
done,
the floor.
Costa? Are you done?
I could do a whole podcast on myself about how bad the
Okay,
movie
you're
is. You can go
done.
ahead.
As Sander was about to
From my
bring up
sleeves?
M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. It
Hey,
is,
there you go. Transition.
it is bad. It's so bad. I actually grew up with the cartoon show, which
Yeah.
was far superior. It won many
Of course.
awards.
Made sense too.
It made sense, had excellent writing, and then Shyamalan, who claimed to have seen the show, claimed to be a fan, he took the series and just turned it. He made it backwards. He made everything backwards. Where there was good writing, he turned it into bad writing by trying to fit in a whole season, almost 2 seasons or 1 season, into one movie. And he didn't know how to really. Shyamalan's other movies are thrillers, so they're relatively short. And then in this movie, he tried to make like almost a 2.5 hour
Yep.
epic fantasy film. So he did that. The writing didn't make sense. The casting made no sense.
Wait, you know how I know we never saw it? The characters' names are pronounced wrong.
They're pronounced incredibly wrong.
And it's not like he was basing it off a book where there's interpretation. Like, we all know our friend who thought Hermione was Hermione. But
Yeah, yeah.
But the characters say their names in the television show. There's no excuse
There is no
for getting
excuse.
it wrong.
Like, how are
And
they
then-
mispronouncing names? Like,
Ong.
Ong?
Ong.
Aang, Sokka, Katara, like something like I don't even know what they did for Katara because I blocked it out so bad. And of course the elephant in the room with the casting because in the show
They're
it was
all
supposed
white
to be
people.
in the show it was supposed to be it was based off of Asian fantasy and mythicism. So the show was actually like it used a lot of stand-ins for Asian cultures like the Fire Nation was like the feudal Chinese, Imperial Chinese. You know, they had the Inuits and the Alouettes. You had it was pretty much like that. So then in the movie they just reversed it. Like the Fire Nation are mostly Indian. Everyone else is white. It made no sense. But other than that, it's a terribly made movie. The special effects are bad. The writing was bad. The timing was bad. The pacing was bad. Everything about it's awful. And that's why I hate it.
Simple
Sorry,
enough.
that was long.
Everything is awful. Greg, how about you? What's your worst?
It's hard to say because a lot of the worst movies I've mostly just read about. There are very few movies that I've seen all the way through and pissed me off. If there was one that pissed me off, oddly enough, it's not really well known. It was this one horror movie where they're out in the woods, and it's called I think it's called Wrong Turn.
Oh yeah.
I've heard
That
that.
movie pissed me off so much. I was watching it on TV, and I just thought, wow, everyone is so stupid. Not in that fun Nick Cage kind of stupid. Like everyone is just being like, oh no, we got lost in the woods. Let's ask these guys for help.
They're murderers.
They're not even ironic about it. It's just dumb.
So basically all on the nose dialogue and
Right, and there's nothing interesting about it, and I just remembered I was flipping shit over it while my sister was just like, "Calm down, Greg." And it was like, "You're enjoying this just to see me mad."
just to see me mad.
Well, let's see. I'd say movies that are probably the worst that I have seen but didn't get mad at. It's probably Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That one just made me sad. Big
Sad
MK fan.
Gregorio is sad.
I love MK and it sucked.
Tyler, how about yours?
Alright, so I don't really go around looking seeking out bad movies.
I don't
like
think a
some
lot of
people
us do.
I do. I do.
Okay, never mind. I got overruled,
And
but
Matt,
go
if
ahead.
he was here, but
Well, yeah.
but so when I call something a worst movie, I have to say it's a movie that's so bad that I regretted watching it. That we how bad it is. And right now there are 3 on that list. First one is a movie called Jury Duty.
Jury Duty. I've never seen that.
It has Pauly Shore.
Oh.
It was my introduction to Pauly Shore.
Bio.
Yeah, it was I was flipping through the channels and I was being distracted. Oh, this looks like an interesting smart movie. And then I found out who Pauly Shore is,
And then you found out you were totally wrong.
and the worst part is that it does one of those sins in movies where it shows you scenes from a good movie. In this case, 12 Angry Men. So I'd want to be watching 12 Angry Men instead.
I just looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 0%
Whoa.
Rotten Tomatoes rate. Yeah. Are we gonna become a version of the Razzies? Do we have to give an award out now?
Yes.
It only has a 3.7 on IMDb.
It's the only
Oh,
the
because
only thing going for it was the lead actress. But even that was nothing. Anyway, so
Next one.
next on my list, Transformers 2.
Yeah.
That was just so long. The first movie was enjoyable enough.
I found the first Transformers to be a decent film.
Yes.
In all honesty, I really
Yes.
did. I mean, it's not a great film, but it's at least passable. You can deal with the Shia LaBeouf annoyingness and
It's fun.
yeah, it's
somewhat
kind of
fun.
it's
I
one of
thought
those
it was
movies.
okay.
If you turn your brain off, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But go ahead,
Yeah,
Tyler.
I think
the
most
second,
things would
the
be.
second movie is just it ruined the whole At that point, I was like, okay, I'm done with this version of Transformers.
I wish
It was
Sorry.
way too long.
The only redeemable part I thought of that movie had was the giant monster at the end after he combines with all the other Transformers. I thought that was
The
pretty
My
cool.
one with the
part-
monster
my
wrecking
The one who
balls.
climbs up the pyramid.
Yeah, the one
right,
with
yeah,
the
the one-
machine balls.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
one where the
Well,
guy
right.
literally says, "I'm beneath the robot's scrotum."
Yeah.
Because that's a
Well,
line from the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's how bad the movie is.
For me, it was Jetfire was the only redeeming factor. I thought he was pretty cool.
Who?
Jetfire. It was the plane.
Oh.
that combines with
The
Valkyrie.
SR-71, the awesome guy.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, he was cool.
But besides that, it was I wanted to take back the. Well, it felt like 4 hours of watching that movie. It was less. And now the final movie, which I really forgot about, and except that I was reminded it existed earlier today, was Birdemic.
Birdemic.
Oh. that's terrible.
Birdemic.
It's a real
now
thing.
Say,
It exists.
now
I've
say
seen
what
it.
you want about The Room and Troll 2, but those can be enjoyable to watch. Birdemic was just torture to sit through.
And you know that I think they've
I
made
know,
a
don't
sequel.
remind me.
Surprisingly, on Rotten Tomatoes, Birdemic has a 20%.
Well,
It's ridiculous.
It's ironic, but it's check out what would The Room have?
Audience percentage 28.
It's the movie where
28% of audiences
Well,
like
yeah,
it.
but what does the room have on that?
Oh well, the room has 0.
the room
Oh,
is
it does it?
the
Yeah.
room's ironically funny because it's so bad. Whereas Birdemic, you think it's bad, and then you're like, oh, you hear how bad it is. You're like, oh no, it'll be enjoyably bad. It won't be that bad. Then you watch
But
it,
then
it's
it
far
is.
worse than you could ever imagine.
The graphics
And I've seen bad
are
movies.
the graphics are like little like like
Yeah.
Like paper cutouts.
yeah, exactly that, and
Paper cutouts
they're
of
stuck in a
birds.
flapping animation.
Yeah.
And their only way of conveying that there's a whole lot of them is to just copy them.
Copy
They
paste
just copy
exact
and paste,
thing.
and so they have the same animations. I remember one shot they
They're
panned
not
the
even
camera
offset.
back-
They're not even offset.
Right, exactly. They had one shot where the camera's panning back and forth between the 3 characters, and they're all swiping at the birds, and the birds are just static in the center of the screen. They're just standing there. They're just flapping in the center of the screen, and the characters are all like,
How about the fact that the birds are able
Now
to
you
somehow
think-
detonate bombs?
They drop bombs. They wake up and the birds are dropping bombs.
I know what I'm renting tonight.
Yeah.
It's on
that-
YouTube.
wait, hold
Go
on.
watch it.
It sounds funny at first, but to get to that, you have to go through all the boring wooden dialogue, camera shots that last way too long and just like hold there
But
until
that-
they cut.
But that's not even
Yeah,
the
there's
that's
the-
not you guys are missing the dumbest part of the entire movie.
We are.
Oh, the message.
Why the birds have gone
the
insane?
message.
Because
No, don't spoil it for
Oh,
the Sander.
Don't spoil it.
because of global warming.
Oh.
You spoiled
By the
it.
way, just to say, Netflix has Birdemic.
It does.
Birdemic makes me ashamed to believe in anthropogenic climate change.
But they don't have
That's-
Birdemic 2.
That's how
I
terrible
don't think it's
Birdemic
out
is.
yet.
It might not be. I don't know, but so yeah, that definitely is a really terrible one. Ryan, let's hear yours.
Okay, to begin with, I kind of make it a hobby to seek out bad movies.
Oh boy.
One of
Mostly
those
really
people.
terrible martial arts movies. But let's see.
Weeabo.
Some of the ones I'm gonna have to go with. Your Hunter from the Future. It's this '80s Italian B movie.
Wait, is that its title?
Yes.
Your Hunter from.
No,
No,
Y-O-R.
Y-O-R.
Oh, your Hunter
Your
from
comma Hunter from the future.
But it's
What?
one of
That's
these
a
movies-
long title.
Oh.
It's basically the story of this caveman who goes around genociding other tribes of cavemen and picking up blonde chicks on the way.
Wait, in
That's
the
not
caveman
the one.
era or now?
No, because then the plot twist is that it's actually a post-apocalyptic. And that somehow dinosaurs are there anyway, even
But-
though it's post-apocalyptic.
But dinosaurs weren't even there for the original caveman.
Yeah.
Flintstones.
And how
Okay.
terrible are the dinosaurs
Oh.
looking.
I want to make sure, just because you mentioned it, I want to make sure I'm reading the summary right. I just looked it up on IMDb,
Yes.
and it said the summary is "You're an extremely blonde, but without the e at the
Yes.
end of the word, blonde
Yes.
prehistoric warrior comes to question his origins, particularly with regard into a mysterious medallion he wears."
Well,
I'm not going to go into the rest of it, but
Blonde
that's-
that just
is, man.
why did that
That's-
have to be specified?
That's one way of describing the plot, I guess, but that has nothing to do with the movie, really. It's mostly just a collection of really stupid action scenes.
I want to know how you pitched this, like in a log line. Like how did they convince their producers to make this film?
Well, it's an Italian movie that was made for a budget of probably $5,000.
Wow.
And they had Red Brown, right?
Yes, it had red brown.
Yeah.
It sounds like those guys just found a bag of $5,000 on the ground. Like, oh hey, what can we do
I'm
with
pretty
this?
sure. I'm actually convinced the whole movie was actually just a money laundering scheme. But
Go ahead with your
the
next.
other movie I'd just like to throw out is the
Sure.
Street Fighter movie.
Squid Fighter?
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter.
With
Oh,
his Mortal Kombat movie
I didn't
reminded
hear.
me of that.
Probably just as good.
To begin with, the character in Street
Jean-Claude Van
Fighter
Damme.
who has an American flag tattoo, he's played by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Oh, the Belgian.
Oh, dear God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the really bad part is Raul Julia is in it. And you can tell he's like trying his balls off to make this a good role. Because basically this was his last movie. He knew he was dying of cancer at this time. And he let his children pick his last movie. And they were fans of Street Fighter. So he went with Street Fighter. And it was just this horrible movie. And that's the legacy he left.
I still only remember him as Gomez Adams. That's all I'm gonna remember him as, and I'm gonna stick with that.
Sorry,
You're
can
like
I go
1%
back
of
to
the
your
population.
for a second there?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm reading the synopsis, and this is a line from the synopsis. Yor and Pag track the blue cavemen to their lair, where Yor shoots a giant bat with his bow and arrow.
That scene's awesome.
He uses the
Yeah.
dead bat like a hang glider
Yes.
to storm the lair and starts flooding sections of the caves. The diversion helping his escape out of the back with Kala.
Yes, that
Yes,
happens.
that happens. It happens.
Wow.
Wait, have you seen this too?
I've seen. I saw it from a review from Spoony One.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that is a thing.
Going back to Street Fighter, who was dying?
Raul Julia.
Oh, Raul Julia. Okay. I didn't hear it initially, so I looked it up and I was like, wait, who was dying?
What role did he play in Street Fighter? I didn't see
He was M. Bison. He
M.
was
Bison.
the villain. But it's like he's giving this absolutely amazing performance in this horrible movie.
Wow.
Ugh.
Okay, Steven, go ahead.
I've actually got 3 movies just because I hate all of them, and so 2 of them I hate equally, so I have to throw them both in there. The first was one I actually saw last year, one I did not want to see at all. I was with my sister and her husband, and she made both of us watch this movie called A Walk to Remember.
Oh. Chick flick.
And the entire time, my brother-in-law and I were just looking at each other, going like, I don't want to be here.
You don't have enough estrogen to like that movie.
Yeah.
Like I've seen chick flicks before. I hate almost all of them. I do hate all of them.
Almost. I was about to grill you on which one.
I don't want to say I hate every movie of a genre, but I'm trying to think back and I've never liked one. So I'm like, okay, I guess I can legitimately say I
Dirty
do hate
Sally,
it.
maybe? That's like the one good.
What about the one with the big boat?
We're not talking about that. If Matt was here, we might talk about that. But, anyway,
We need a bigger boat anyway, so.
anyway,
That was a good movie. But the sequels were bad, though.
anyway.
Jaws 3D.
But,
Cocaine.
just
Go.
the entire thing was completely just. I wanted to kill myself, especially when Mandy Moore starts singing, and
jeez.
I'm like, oh my god.
Oh. I'm sorry. You reminded me of another movie. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'll talk about when you're done. I guess we have time.
Also,
Sorry.
I felt it was kind of relevant to mention this one since it's based off a Nicholas Sparks book, and Safe Haven just came out, which I hear is also very bad. So, anyway.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Anyway, the second thing is Resident Evil Apocalypse.
Oh.
I like the Resident Evil games, the movies, whatever. Apocalypse is the only one I truly hated. By the time I was done, I just wanted to break the disc.
I just wish they would make like a real like rededicated Resident Evil movie because I mean, isn't everybody sick of that same main actress
Yes.
just surviving every single one of these
Yeah,
films?
but isn't it like the director's wife or something
Yes.
like that?
So yeah, I believe so. Like the last one came out, and they didn't. I saw commercials where all they did was advertise the sounds. And they were like, listen to the sounds of Resident Evil Afterlife. And I just thought, okay, if you're advertising your sounds on a TV promo, you do not have a good movie.
No, and like all of them,
Unless it's Wally. But
Wow.
all of the movies in that series have been bad, and but Apocalypse is just the only one that I actually hated. So, anyway, last one is Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes,
Okay.
the movie that made me hate both Tim Burton and Mark Wahlberg. I don't care.
Oh, I don't hate Mark Wahlberg.
I don't care what movies they make now. That I will always think of that movie when I hear about them. And there's really not much more I could say about it without going on a long rant that would take 5 minutes. So, someone else go.
Can I
I like how
pre-call a movie as bad? Is that allowed?
What?
The Host?
Oh, because of
well,
Stephanie
Not
Meyer.
out yet, Sandra.
But it's not out yet.
I
You
can't
say-
pre-call it as bad?
No.
Of course it's going to be bad. It's by the same person who made Twilight, all of which were bad. Although a couple of them were funny bad. That's why I didn't mention either of them.
The trailer for The Host came on while we were watching The Hobbit. And
Along with 4 other post-apocalyptic
right, but
films.
so Ryan leans over to me and says, "This is definitely a Stephanie Meyer movie. And I assume I was like, well, because it starts with an abusive relationship. and then the intertitle happens, written by Stephanie Meyer, and the entire theater groaned.
Yeah, and it wasn't just us either. It was other people.
Collective.
Yeah, it was like the whole theater almost.
And of course, I have a special gripe with it that is ruining my favorite genre, science fiction.
And I
Twilight, stay in fantasy. Ruin
Yes.
fantasy, not my sci-fi.
And
Yeah.
I have a gripe with it because there's a Korean movie called The Host that's really good monster movie, and it's gonna get confused with this.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I have a similar complaint. I also hate the new Red Dawn because I like the old Red Dawn.
Why?
Because it's funny bad, whereas the new Red Dawn is just really bad. But now I can't say I like Red Dawn because people think I mean the new Red Dawn, which is just terrible.
I don't know. I think people already forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A legendary bad film that's a bad film classic is from Justin to Kelly. I don't know how I remember when you brought it.
Horrible.
I don't know how he reminded me, but he
Mandy
did.
Moore.
I know you said Mandy Moore, but this was like Kelly Clarkson and some guy.
The
There's like the
runner-up,
first
the guy
people
who.
from-
Oh,
Yeah.
that was he right. And
I
it's
actually
just
forgot
awful.
about that movie until you just mentioned it. Thank you. You've reignited another hatred. for
I-
me, so.
I didn't even hear about this movie till I took a media studies class in or media production, whatever it was, in high school, and we had to learn how to deconstruct film. So one of them was an example of a terrible film, which was from Justin to Kelly. We had to fill out a little worksheet on it. What makes this a bad film?
Everything.
My paper was like it was like line by line. It filled the entire page
Why
of
can't we
what
have
how it was
classes like that
awful.
here?
It's a what?
Why can't we have classes like that here?
We probably should, but it was just.
Bad movie classes?
I can't even recommend people watch it just to find out what it's like because it's mind-numbingly boring and terrible at the same time.
I want to throw one more into the ring. It just popped in my head. Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Two words.
Now-
Bat nipples.
Now, okay. Here, let me ask a question about that. Has that become one of those funny bad films now, or
For
is
me,
it just?
I
overall
think,
bad?
yeah, it kind of has, but I mean,
sort
it's,
of has.
it's so funny because, well, I mean, most of us, I mean, all of us are about in the same age group. So when you think about it, that's almost the first Batman movie you probably remember watching.
I do remember
as a kid.
watching it, and when I was a kid, I liked it.
And how awesome you thought it was. Then you watch it,
Yeah.
5 or
Yeah,
6
I'm
years
in
later.
that
What's wrong with
And,
me?
and you're like, this movie's a piece of shit. Especially after around that same time Batman Begins had come out, and you have something to contrast it to,
Well,
besides
right.
the older Batman films. But for a movie that had such a star-studded cast,
George
it
Clooney is Batman.
failed
though?
miserably. Just
Dude,
so
Uma
bad.
Does George
Thurman.
Clooney really fit the role of Batman though?
No.
See, I think when most people watch George Clooney films, I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe you believe his acting and all that, but you generally tend to think that's George Clooney.
I mean,
You're not gonna think that's
Except
Bruce
for the
Wayne.
Descendants. He was good in The Descendants. Did anyone see that?
I did see that. I wasn't a big
Yeah.
fan of that movie. He did well. He did a good job. I wasn't
I
just
just-
a big fan of the film.
I-
It wasn't great.
I mean,
in my opinion.
like I said, you had George Clooney. I mean, Chris O'Donnell was Robin in the previous Batman movie. I think was he in the? He wasn't. Was he? In
Yeah, he was in
Yeah, he
Forever.
was.
He was in Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Was
I mean,
the Alfred the same?
yeah, they had
Yeah.
the same outfit
Okay.
through all the Batman films except
Except
when
the-
Christopher
except
Nolan
when
for Nolan
Michael
films.
Caine
Right.
came over.
That brings it up a question. If he was in the first one, why didn't they call that one Batman and Robin and this one Batman Forever?
I brought that question up so many
The
times.
titling's weird.
It's retarded.
They should have just been
It
switched.
makes a reference to a draft of the script that wasn't used.
But wait,
Oh,
okay.
and also though, George Clooney wasn't the previous Batman though.
No,
Right, no, he
it's-
wasn't. It was
Val
Val
Kilmer.
Kilmer, yeah, because
Yeah.
Keaton did the
That-
two before
That's
that.
the problem with the old films is that there's very loose or if any continuity between them.
I mean,
so that's why you get the
Well, they
title
are basically
inconsistency.
episodic.
I mean,
Yeah.
this movie.
Not necessarily though. Not with different Batmans and then.
This movie is like the quintessential definition of a total money grab. You had, like I said, you had Clooney, you had O'Donnell, you had Alicia Silverstone at like the peak of her popularity, playing
Uma
Batgirl,
Thurman.
Uma Thurman, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I am sorry was like the worst part of that film. Outside of the horrible like costumes, his lines, all of Mr. Freeze's ice puns were horrible.
Stay cool.
Stay cool. Nice to freeze you. Oh no! It's Ice to Meet You. Ice to Meet You. Yeah.
Again,
Ice
I
to Meet
actually
You.
say that one.
Again, I always question the scene where Robin goes to Poison Ivy and like they kiss and then he
Rubber
reveals
lips.
that he has
Rubber lips.
and he reveals that he has the rubber lip, but then he takes it off right in front of her
Yeah,
when
that was
he's this
dumb.
close to her, and she doesn't just think to kiss him then again and kill him, but no, she kicks him into the water. And,
Also, running with the bomb.
oh,
Yeah,
wow,
it's also like the worst like fighting choreography I've ever
Oh,
seen.
it
in a
was
movie.
terrible.
Pow!
That and also I just didn't like
Whack.
how they portrayed Bane too. Just a
Oh, yeah,
total
he
like,
was in
idiot.
I
Yeah.
was gonna mention Bane. Compare the Bane in
Yes.
Batman and Robin to Dark Knight
Wait,
Rises.
Bane was in Batman?
And
and
Robin,
Robin?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
he,
didn't
Yeah.
remember
He
Bane
was a
He was
mind-
like a,
he
he
was
was like a
Poison Ivy.
crony.
Yeah, he was like a
yeah.
mindless crony of Poison Ivy's. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
I do not remember
Yeah.
Bane being in that movie.
he was,
Yeah.
I remember him.
Bruce
Not
Wayne
good.
is
Like his last one before he died.
Yeah, we
Sanders,
can move
stop
on. This is
singing
a whole
for
other
me.
podcast. Let's move on from.
Emily, have you given us yours yet?
No, I haven't.
Go ahead.
Alright, so a recent movie that I saw that was very bad was Identity Thief.
Why was it bad?
Of course.
Because
Well, I want to hear. I'm interested. Because I knew it was going to be bad, but I just want to hear. 'Cause
okay,
haven't
so I
seen it.
like Melissa McCarthy. I think she's funny. I think she's
Yeah,
a good actress.
She is.
Okay.
But this movie was just completely taking advantage of her the whole time. It was making fun of her being fat the whole time. I felt bad for her because I thought she did an okay job, but it just wasn't that funny. And Jason Bateman's he's just always dry.
He's the same
Same
character in
Yeah.
any movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can copy and paste Jason Bateman, and there's no difference.
Copy pasta Jason.
Or same as like Seth Rogen or
Yeah.
James
Lovable
Franco
stoner.
or- yeah.
And then another one that's also recent is Your Highness
Your Highness.
with Danny McBride, Natalie Portman, and James Franco.
Oh, that okay.
And
That
see,
one.
the problem was I heard that it was good. Like I heard somebody say that it was one of those like stupid funny movies that was actually pretty good. And so I got it, but I got it and watched it with like my mom,
Mhm.
thinking that she would
Oh.
Is that a mistake?
like it, and that was a mistake.
Uh-uh.
I mean, there's one part where they literally like cut off a minotaur's penis and wear it around their neck, and I had no idea why.
Oh,
What is this movie about?
I don't even remember.
It's a stoner filmed in medieval times, medieval
Yeah.
fantasy setting.
They thought this was a good idea.
All right, is that the one
because-
where they had where in the first version of the commercial they decided that Natalie Portman's ass was too out there, so then after the first run they digitally fixed it?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
there was
you're
this
right.
huge scandal like after the first run of the commercial,
I never
whether
even
whether
heard
there was
this.
too much Natalie Portman butt on screen.
There's no such thing.
It was bad for her too because it was right after she got her Oscar. And then,
Right.
like
Oh.
the next thing she did was this crap movie.
Oh, it was right after Black Swan,
It was
wasn't
right
it?
after Black Swan.
Oh.
Yeah.
She wanted to relax.
Well, and you know, like this was a bad movie because there was a big. I remember there being like some sort of contest, like get a pre-screening of Your Highness at your local college type of
Wow.
deal. Yeah.
That's because that's the target audience right
Well,
there.
yeah, but that just goes to show you how, you know.
Yeah. It is kind of sad when you see like the good actors and actresses choose these really terrible.
Well, the only
roles.
good-
Like Liam Neeson, does he
Good
have any
actress.
taste anymore?
He starred in both Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans. I don't think so.
Money,
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, but does Liam Neeson need money at this point
He did Star
in
Wars.
his life?
He needs
He's done Star Wars. He's done Batman.
ransom
mean,
money for his daughters.
it just keeps happening to him. It's like-
This is how my sister described Taken. It's still Taken, but it's a different kind of Taken.
You mean Taken
Taken
2?
2, yeah, Taken
Yeah.
2.
Taking
Oh,
tactics.
jeez.
Yeah.
Am I like the only person on Earth who didn't like the first Taken?
I didn't like it.
I didn't
I thought it
like
was alright. I didn't think it was as
It's
great as
not
people
a
made it
great
out to be.
movie at all. It's just that I'm sorry that I have a big problem when the villain or the heroes don't encounter any issues in the climactic scene. Like in the final scene when he finally reaches where his daughter's being held, he's just blasting through. He doesn't get touched.
What,
He doesn't get touched.
What was the other
That's
movie though that he
awful.
was in? It
I'm
was
used to watching 24 where characters get shot and then die as they're supposed to.
Oh no, what's her? What,
speaking
that
of
fat guy
Taken
who died
and-
in that one season of the Nerf gas.
I know. Oh, Edgar.
Edgar.
Oh, Edgar. Anyway, go ahead.
But
Ryan.
just going off, well, the TV.
Sorry, we
entertainment-
just depressed any 24 fan.
If
That was so sad.
I don't know if any of you guys watch Castle, but they just
What?
recently did an episode that followed a similar plot to Taken, and they acknowledged it and like started parodying Taken, and it was like amazing. But
Oh
Nice.
wow, holy shit! I just realized None of us mentioned Star Wars Episode 1.
Because I don't
think
consider
that's
it that bad.
Yeah, there are worse movies.
I
Yeah,
know,
there
it's
are
just-
much worse
It's
films.
just surprising to consider it in
Well,
group.
see,
No,
it's
I
a-
don't
it's a
consider it
horrible
that
movie.
bad.
Because no one
In
here
its
cares about
context-
Star Wars except you, Sander.
Mike
Yeah,
cares.
I don't think it's that.
Oh
it's
right,
as
Mike.
It's not
bad
that
of a
bad.
Oh right,
film as
Mike
everybody
liked
thinks.
Star Wars
It-
Episode
it's
1. I forgot.
entertaining. I mean, it,
Yeah,
it
it-
holds up as an
See, it's a
entertaining
terrible
Exactly.
movie, but it's a terrible movie within the context of Star Wars. Outside of Star Wars, it's honestly not that
I
bad.
think the
I
only
think
person.
in general,
That's a good
it's I like it. I don't mind the prequels. No, they are not as good as the originals, not even by a long stretch. But they're still enjoyable films. They still completed the story, and to me, the story was satisfactory.
I bet
I-
you like sand too.
All right. Let's not make this another Star Wars podcast.
We have plenty of time for that.
We already
on
did
fourth.
that.
What? Yeah. When are we doing the Star Wars podcast?
We'll do that for May.
One
You're
the
breaking
day.
the fourth wall, man. You're breaking the fourth wall.
It's a podcast. It's supposed to do that.
4th.
And you mentioning actually Taken made me think of the other Liam Neeson movie, Unknown.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't lose his daughter, he loses his memory. Like he's always losing
that's
something.
right.
I actually did.
Well, like
that
I'm not
movie.
gonna
You are.
spoil
If you have my
the film
memory.
to anybody, but you know,
If you know what I did last night with my keys, what?
remind me.
I actually like that movie. That was.
No, it's like-
I may not have the memory, but I used to have a
No, it's
special
like-
set of skills.
No, it's like-
I used to have.
I think.
No, it's like I don't know who you are because
I
No,
don't
seriously,
know
I don't
who I am
know
either.
who are you?
How many parodies could we do of that phone call? Like that's.
I don't know who you are, but would you like to buy this product?
Okay, so according to IMDb, Liam Neeson is currently filming Lego: The Piece of Resistance.
Wait.
Oh my god!
Wait.
You've got to be kidding me!
It's a
What is this movie?
Starring Will Ferrell, Liam Neeson, Allison Brie, and Nick Offerman.
Wait,
Actually,
oh
the
god,
movie-
are
so-
they
it's
going to
funny.
see
Wait,
these
are
guys,
they
we are
voice
going to
acting
see
Legos?
them.
Or
It's like Battleship. Is it like Battleship?
Guys, we are going to watch this, okay?
Is it like a Lego Battleship?
I'm going to be there
Uh,
opening night to
2014.
see
Li-
this.
Okay,
Liam-
yeah, it's not a live thing. It's voice acting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, well
God.
that's better.
That's better.
Liam Neeson actually though just signed on to be in Seth MacFarlane's
Who
next
had
movie.
this idea?
Well, wait. What's Seth MacFarlane's next
The
film?
was it the 10,000 Ways to Die in the Wild West or something like that in the
What?
West?
Why is Seth
Okay.
MacFarlane allowed to make
A Million Ways
movies?
to Die.
Ted wasn't that bad if you like Family Guy.
Or A Million Ways to
That's
Die.
why.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
he makes humor that Family Guy fans
Yeah, but Liam
love.
Neeson just signed on earlier today. I saw the release.
It's
Yeah.
not up here yet. Oh wait, yeah, it is.
Well,
It's
as
in
we
the news.
wait for that film to maybe become on this list.
I want to see a live action Lego movie. I don't
What
care
was
how
the-
stupid
I don't want a
it is.
live
It'll
action
just be a
Lego
stop
Wait,
motion.
Hold on, what was the last good movie that Liam Neeson made?
I thought the Greg was
18. I liked 18. 18.
I think it would be
Dark Knight.
K-19.
K-19 The Widowmaker is my vote for last good
Yeah,
movie.
I'd say
he's made.
K-19.
I haven't seen The Gray. I've been meaning to watch that.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean,
I heard
it
mixed
was
reports.
different. It was different. It had a different storytelling style to it.
I've
than
heard
most
very
movies.
mixed reports. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
I didn't like the wolves, the way they did the wolves
Okay.
in CGI. I thought it was not that good. But,
Oh, excuse me.
I thought it had an
Also,
interesting
that's not
story.
how wolves work.
Right. Yeah.
And last time we had a movie where wolves were the antagonists, the American wolf nearly went extinct. So
What movie was that?
oh god, what movie was that? It couldn't have been Bambi because Bambi is the reason that
There
deer
were
are
no wolves in
overpopulated.
Bambi.
Right. But like Americans when they watch movies, they assume they're real for some reason. So like after Bambi came out, people just stopped hunting deer. Like, oh no, save the deer. And so then the deer population exploded and now all the deer are starving to death. And the moral of the story
Good
is
job, Disney.
kill deer.
Wait, how do we? Never mind.
I'm just saying
Never
that, like,
mind.
no, but like, it's true. Like, you have these movies where animals are the antagonists. After Jaws, like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
killings of sharks went up, you know, and it's just people be
The killings
tripping.
People be tripping.
People be tripping. That's the message you're gonna leave with everybody. People be tripping. Everybody. Brought to you by Sandra LeBeau.
I actually like The Gray, but
See,
I understood
wasn't
that it
the
wasn't supposed to
hunted,
be an
was it?
actual.
It might have been.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw out a few of my bad
Mike has to go on
bad
that.
films. Yeah, thanks everybody. I'm only the host and the president, but whatever.
Not for long.
Anyway.
Exactly. Whatever.
Anyway, I know probably nobody in the world saw this movie besides me, and my sisters, because I grew up with 3 sisters, and I ended up being forced to watch a lot of films I didn't want to watch. And one of them was Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody else ever?
I like that movie.
Oh, come on! That was a terrible film. It was terrible.
You're terrible.
Everybody cracked up because a cell phone went off at a party, and everybody pulls out their cell phone, and everybody in the theater's like, ha! And I'm just like,
This was
what
in
was funny about that
2001
scene?
when cell phones were funny.
It still didn't come across as funny to me. It really didn't come across as funny at all.
It was
So
a chick
and
flick. I mean, it was a chick flick, so.
and yeah, it was a chick flick. So maybe, and I haven't seen it in years. That was back when I was like, I don't know, when did that movie come out? When I was like,
2002.
How do you all know that?
I said maybe.
Oh,
I didn't see that. I was
Fact
guessing.
about that movie, it was originally written as a lesbian movie, and then they thought that
Yeah,
was-
they definitely included parts of the lesbianism in there.
Bend It Like
Like
Beckham.
Beckham.
It was originally written as a lesbian romance movie, but then the studio made them change it.
Weird.
That would have made it more interesting.
That's
Anyway,
why they changed it.
anyway, I do have to throw, like, just in the bad funny department, I do have to throw out The Room, because I do have to legitimately say that is
Yeah.
the worst film I actually have ever witnessed, because the first time you watch it, it is a painful, like, sort of endurance test if you're not watching it with friends to make fun of it, because you can create a different riff tracks for it every single time you watch it, and the jokes would be fresh every single time. Like, you could come up with new jokes every time you watch it. So, The Room, there's not a lot of other films that... Oh, Mirror Mirror, the film that came out last year. I know I mentioned this on, I think, a few podcasts now, but don't go see that movie. It's a bunch of people trying to do the Snow White story and failing at it. Think about a freshman, a college-level freshman movie trying to be a feature film. Like,
was that The
I'm
Room?
not
Is The
insulting
Room?
anybody's skills or anything,
No,
but
I'm
just
agreeing.
imagine the worst college
Yeah.
freshman trying to make a feature film.
This is The Room we're talking about?
Well, no, this
Oh.
was Mirror Mirror.
Oh.
Mirror Mirror was bad. We were watching it at Benji's, at me and my girlfriend, and we left 20 minutes into the film.
Wow.
Like, we were done.
Did you
We
want to
could
get
not...
money back, or did you?
No,
Oh.
because it's like any movie. You can't walk out of a movie and then say, I want my money back because that movie sucked. Sandra couldn't walk up and say, Battleship sucked, give me my money
I've
back.
done that before, and it's worked. Maybe
Where?
I just had really nice managers.
Did you finish the movie? Because that sometimes counts.
No, I did not finish.
That's the reason. If you walk out after it's finished, then they don't give you the refund.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
But yeah, I mean, as per actual, like, terrible films, like, I don't know, there's not a whole lot that I can really think of that hasn't already been mentioned. The Transformers, the later Transformers, Transformers 3 especially.
I didn't even give
Didn't
it
see
a
it.
chance.
Transformers 3 is just, I mean, it's one of those, like, it finishes out the story, and you're like, thank God.
There was a story.
Oh, I just thought of it. I'm sorry. What? Oh, there is a 4th one coming out. Yes, I do remember that. Indiana Jones 4.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, come on.
It wasn't that bad.
It was
I don't
bad.
see how you can like the Star Wars prequels, but not like
Because
Indiana 4.
Jones 4 completely
'Cause I'd say-
went outside. Because, first of all,
No, it didn't.
Harrison Ford was too old to play Indiana Jones. Secondly, he protects himself in a fridge from a nuclear blast.
Oh, right,
If
because
he
that's
didn't
less
die
plausible
from
than
the-
the Ark of the Covenant.
If he
Oh,
didn't
let's
die
die
from
from
the
Kalema.
If he didn't die from the
Kalema.
blast, well, how would he? But see, those are different though.
See, I
Those are
don't-
spiritual things.
I don't
this
get
is a
that.
real
Why
physical
is
thing.
it that people have objections to aliens being there, but the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy
Because
Grail
those
or
are
whatever
because
are
those
okay?
are those are
Aliens
old
are just
and
mythological.
documented.
Religious and
Those are
mystical, not
documented
like
old
alien
archaeological
shit.
facts,
It's
or not facts, but
See,
finds.
I'd say the 4th Indiana Jones movie was not as good as the other 3, but
Not
still
in any-
it was still an enjoyable movie.
I don't agree at all. I think I fell asleep through it. And that's sad because, I mean, it had some elements I liked. I liked the character of Marion, and I was glad that they brought her back. But the rest of the story was just, Shia LaBeouf was awful. I'm sorry, he was. There is nothing I could find that was redeemable about Shia LaBeouf's performance in that
Well,
movie.
no, I'll agree. I didn't really
You know,
like Shia
and he's a big part of the story, and he's supposed to be the next Indiana Jones since he's Indy's son.
But that's not actually happening.
I know that that's not going to happen, but that's what they set it up to happen. So now it's going to be in everybody's minds, subconscious, that if they were to do like a continuation of Indiana Jones, it would have to be Shia LaBeouf.
And that's why the scene of he takes his hat away. It's indicating what.
I understand that, Ryan, but I'm just saying though, just the thought of it is, it wasn't that good of a film. It really wasn't. The ending wasn't that good. The villains weren't really that interesting. You know, compared to the original three, it really lacked.
I don't know. I thought it was better than Temple of Doom.
I can't say because I like Temple
I will
of Doom.
agree.
I
Temple of
can't
Doom.
stand
Temple of Doom is nowhere near as good as 1 and 3. I will agree to that, but it's still not bad. I can deal with the small annoyances like short round.
Indy.
Okay,
I
yeah,
hate
the
that
girl
woman.
the girl was annoying, but that was the point.
And what?
But
the
that was the
annoying
point.
little-
The
That
point
was
is
the
to be a
point.
drill into my skull is a bad point.
The point was that she was supposed to be annoying because she was different than Marion.
I don't.
They
care.
went completely
I
opposite
don't
of
care
what they did
if
with
she
Marion.
still annoys the audience. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it does. If you accept
It
that
doesn't
sort of
matter if
character.
it's supposed to be annoying. It's
That's
still
what-
annoying me.
That's why I hate when people complain about Jar Jar Binks. It's like, he was supposed to be annoying. That's
was supposed
the
to be funny.
point. He was supposed to be funny and annoying. That's
Well,
the point.
That's kind of like in Tropic Thunder, where you're supposed to be mentally retarded, but you can't go too far. It's like I feel like with Jar Jar Binks, he was supposed to be annoying, but he went way too far.
He went full
Okay,
Jar
I'm
Jar.
not saying.
Never go
I'm
full
not-
Jar Jar.
I'm definitely not saying that they wrote Jar Jar well, but I'm just saying you can't just say, "Oh, he was an annoying character." That he was designed to be an annoying
Well,
character.
the main-
Endings
hold
are
on.
designed to be
The
annoying.
main
There's a
I think
difference
you can
between
say-
being annoying to the characters in the movie and annoying to the audience.
but if they're
Also,
not
the
known
main
to the
issue of
characters-
episode 1 is that there's no main character. That's the main issue of
Oh,
episode 1.
Sandra, let's not get. That's not the point right now.
I can forgive Jar Jar.
That's
I don't.
What?
Yes, I can too. I can forgive Jar Jar.
My
because
issue is the
that
lack of a
was-
main character.
But Ryan, what you were just saying, if he doesn't annoy you, how do you understand how the characters feel? That's the point.
You can
Whatever you
portray-
witness,
by
you are
witnessing
supposed
the
to be.
characters'
No, you're supposed to be
reactions.
experiencing the journey of the characters through
Podcast
the
is
main
getting heated.
story.
Yeah, let me. All right.
Hold on. Let me just finish up the point. What? I'm just asking you. You cut me off. Let me just finish up my point. You are experiencing the story through the journey of the main characters. If Jar Jar doesn't annoy you, then he didn't do. Then
No.
he wasn't written right. Yeah. Yes. That's the point.
That's
he was an annoying
no.
character, and
Right,
he
but
was
he's supposed
be
to annoy
annoying.
the characters. He's
the
not
Ewoks
supposed
are supposed to be small, little, annoying little creatures.
No,
and
they're
that's what
not.
They were. Yes,
No,
they
they're
were.
not. The Ewoks were never
Yes,
supposed to
they
be
were.
annoying.
Yeah, the
Yes, they
Ewoks
were.
weren't annoying.
I found many people.
But
who
they're
disagree with
not
that.
supposed to be.
But that's what they come across as.
Can we
to
just-
the
Which was a
characters, and-
mistake then.
Can we just
No, it
move
wasn't.
away from Lucasfilm?
You mean
It always
Disney?
turns around to Lucasfilms. Always.
That's what our
always.
group
Indiana
does.
Jones, Star Wars, every single time.
Well, Indiana Jones not as often though. Just saying. But what were you going to say, Costa?
I'm afraid to say what I was gonna say. I
Let's
didn't
go
know
ahead.
the whole
Say
other
it.
can of
Say it.
worms.
I'm on fire now. Say it.
All right.
Yes.
The other movie I'm surprised that hasn't been mentioned by anybody yet, without mentioning any other movies or remakes, Spider-Man 3.
We're not talking about that.
I just want to list my reasons.
X-Men 3 as well. Oh,
Alright.
Sorry, I should have said that.
No, X-Men Wolverine, if we're gonna go with that.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. I agree. But go ahead.
One.
Spider-Man 3.
Too many villains.
Too many villains.
Sandman was a horrible choice to be a villain. Like, they could have had so many other choices. That's one
Mhm.
thing. Two, emo Peter Parker.
Yes.
That was like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a
The
superhero
jazz
movie.
scene.
The jazz scene, yes. With his hair like hanging below or over his eye, you know, and he's just so red. He's like about to cut his wrists. Topher Grace as Venom. Eric Foreman as
Again,
Venom.
I understand their stylistic choice, but I'm not saying it was a good choice, but I can understand their logic behind it. It just wasn't a very well conceived move. Like it just didn't work out. It didn't pan out well. But that's because they didn't handle Venom well.
It was just like, in what kind of film do, like, with the exception of Venom, because he joins at the very end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of film do you have, like, where all the villains are, like, remorseful? Harry Osborn, all of a sudden, is friends with Spider-Man again, fighting by his side. And then Sandman feels bad for everything he's done. Like, what kind of villains in a movie are just like, yeah, sorry.
Well,
Spread
really,
the
when you
emotions
think
Just
about
like
it, every
villains
Spider-Man villain
Yeah.
was like that.
Well,
Dr. Ock.
well,
was
not
like
Green
that.
Goblin.
Not so much
Green
Green
Goblin
Goblin.
was sort of ish like that.
Not really.
not Green Goblin was
Green
not
Goblin
like
was
that.
a dick.
Doc Ock was like that, yeah, but to have all of them exactly like that, you know, there's just like so many things wrong with that movie.
Well,
on so
and
many
I
levels.
know I've mentioned this before, but like the way that Sandman was created, how he falls into that sand pit, and
Just
then
that
Yeah, it never
random,
explains what the
it's
hell
a
that
random
thing
place
is.
out in
right,
the
right.
middle
They
of
never
nowhere.
explain what that place is.
It's just a bird.
It's out in the middle of nowhere, and yes, these brilliant scientists who don't have a window to see what's about to happen experience a change in what? Well, I think they say like a change in mass in it, and they just assume it's a bird.
The
I'm
guy's
sorry,
got a
what
wing.
scientists just assume anything before they start an experiment?
A bad scientist.
No,
The same scientists that go on Prometheus.
The guy
Probably just a
the
bird.
guy
It's
the
the
guy had to weigh at least
descendants.
230 pounds. What
Right,
bird?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. 230
There's a
pounds.
random emu in our test chamber.
Don't worry, it'll get out when we start the machine.
And then I wonder how often do they run these tests, and for what real purpose?
To shoot a laser at the ground.
And you mentioned Prometheus, made me remember that. But I don't even want
We-
to. I've said enough.
Yeah.
They should have gone with the lizard in Spider-Man 3.
That,
They
or they
should've
should
gone
just
with the
gone Venom and casted someone different to play
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock. Yeah, I mean, there's so many other people they could have chosen for that role, but they chose Topher Grace.
Yeah, especially then, and then we get the Amazing Spider-Man, and then
I
everything.
watched that the other day for the first time.
Please tell me you didn't like
I
it.
did not like it.
Thank you.
Respect.
Another one on my
What, I
side.
mean, what happened?
I don't know.
Okay, so Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy don't know each other, and then like 5 minutes later, they're boyfriend girlfriend.
Oh,
Like,
the Amazing
you know.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
what even
dumb.
happened?
The whole
whole
movie was dumb.
dumb.
When again, I've said before. First of all, he disrespects a dying man's wish, and I'm not gonna go on about that because I've said that before. When the last scene when she's arguing with him and she walks away, I knew she was gonna stop and turn around and said, "My father made you promise, didn't he?" And that's exactly what she said. I said exactly the same line. And I
They
was
said
like,
it at
"Come
the same
on,
time.
guys."
Their lips were moving.
And they're
together.
not
Almost.
They're not even waiting till Amazing Spider-Man 3 to crush the series because number 2 looks like it's going down the same path.
Yeah, it does look bad, but yeah,
I miss
the Amazing
creativity.
Spider-Man was awful.
But
In
I
every
thought
way.
What's
it could have
creativity?
been good. It could have been good. I thought Andrew Garfield
It,
did a pretty good job as Peter Parker.
I'll agree to that.
But
I'll agree to that.
yeah, it just didn't.
And
feel
it just really bugs me that everybody, like, a lot of people said that it was better than the original Spider-Man trilogy. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me, right? You've
Nope.
seen movies, right? You've seen good movies, right?
What is movies?
What is movies?
How do I
What
move?
is Filmmakers Anonymous?
It's the best and only film club at UMBC.
And that is what we are going to leave you guys on today. So, thank you everybody for joining in our podcast today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So go watch
Rock
some
and
bad.
roll!
So go watch some bad movies with some riff tracks and have some fun. All right. I guess is that our lesson today?
Don't watch Battleship.
Except Battleship.
Or any of the
avoid
films
at all
just
costs.
avoid all the movies we've mentioned
Actually-
today.
Ken 19 is good though. Watch that.
So I hope you were taking notes the whole time. Just specifying. Okay. So, but thank you guys for joining. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at UMBCFA, and if you want to look up previous episodes of the show, you can check it out at youtube.com/UMBCFA. Thanks everybody. See ya.